You know, for every time you paint a painting, well, you need to know a little bit about values, and that's one thing that what we're going to learn today. And I might mention that you do need to be exposed to a value chart. Some are more or less uninteresting than what we have done here, because we do have a little painting and just using values of the dark, which is number 1, or the light, which is number 10. So anything in between are the different values. So that's what we'll be working with this time, and then you can learn from that. We have some warm snow and some mahogany. And to do this first, I'm going to use, I think I'll just start with about equal parts of mahogany and warm snow. And this will be the top part of our painting. Yeah, it looks about right. Now we'll just keep adding the warm snow as we grade down our panel. We go down probably halfway or something like that. So let's try this. Thin that a little bit if it's too thick. Wants to be about like house paint to start with. Use the background brush and starting up at the top, we'll start with our long strokes across. Come down 3 or 4 inches, paint it in solid. It's just like as if we're doing a regular gradation of a sky using warm snow and western sky. The only difference is we're using the mahogany. And so we'll come down now. Okay. Now we'll just go back into the paint that we just used, our basic paint that we had just put on, and use the warm snow into it. And we'll be grading down. We'll grade out pretty good with this, because we'll come back for one more gradation after we put this on. Still need to put just a little water with that. Now I didn't clean my brush, but hopefully we have enough warm snow there to make the difference, and I think that's going to work out real good. Load up the brush. All right, we're going to start down here. Do just like we have before. Another 4 inches, something like that. Then grade our sky thusly by putting this where the two paints come together and up, and then we don't come back down until we'll just go to our palette and use the rest of the warm snow. Okay, we'll just put the rest of the warm snow into our base paint. Now see, that's nice and light, and that's what we want to do. We want to get it light because our mountains are going to be rather dark, and we want to show them to show up good. And value-wise, the contrast. Let's try that. Maybe add just a little water. Pick this up. That should help us finish out our sky down here. Now, nice, easy transition. All right, I think that's good enough for this. You go ahead and paint that in, then we're going to come back and start on our mountains. Okay, we're going to put in some mountains, and I'll just take this mahogany that we have here, And now I have quite a little, well, I have some of this left over. We want to come up, we worked, started out with about a value 5 and then 6 and a 7 to finish out our gradation on the sky. Now we're going to go with something about a value, value 3 probably for the base for our mountains, and we're going to put this on with a knife. I think that's probably enough paint to do that. So let's try this. We're going to start about have the top of the mountains about a fourth of the way down on our panel, and the base of the mountain probably in the halfway, something like that. It doesn't have to be exact, but let's just go ahead and put something in here that will represent some mountains. Now I was seeing, well, let's let a little bit of this, the board, our panels show through, and that's good. That gives this a good flavor. Kind of a mocha flavor, I think, is what we're. Let's get a little. Let's go over here with something about like that, and I think I'll get this a little. We'll have this a little heavier on one side than the other. Okay, I think that's going to be pretty good. Now we'll come back and put some snow on our mountains. All you have to do now, just drag that down. All we need to do is get that on there. I don't know what range of mountains that is, but we don't really care either. Okay, you go ahead and paint that in, and then we'll come back and put some snow on the mountain. we're just going to use the warm snow to put the snow on the mountain. We'll just use it straight. We won't put anything in it. We won't mix it with anything else, and we'll use it, put it on with the knife. So let's try this. Now, to light, the available light will be coming from the left. So we will heavy this up more, show it more on the left side of the mountains, I think. But we will not be showing any shadow snow because I think we can just use up more time than we need to use putting on the shadow snow. So we'll have areas where we'll just have plain warm snow. Now, what we're working with here, as far as value, this is a value 10. This is the light as light as that, and if there's any place that we'll be going. Don't put, in other words, don't overdo putting the snow on the mountain. But you can see how that shows up against this. Now we'll give this a good lick right up there. A lot of snow. And again, what we're doing mostly is working with values of 1 to 10, 1 being the very darkest part of the painting, and 10 being the very lightest, which we're working with right now. I think we can just go with that. So you put that on, then we're going to come back and start working forward. I have replenished our paints out here, mahogany and warm snow. We're going to put in some trees that are in a ridge of trees, I might say, and I'm going to use 2 parts to start with anyway, 2 parts of the mahogany and 1 part warm snow. We'll put that over here, and hopefully we'll come out with about a number 3 value. That's what we're kind of striving for here. This is a little darker than the mountains, so that looks about what we want. And I think what we'll do is drop our knife. I think what we'll do is use the fan brush, I think is what we'll do, and not the background brush. So we'll just pick this up, and this has to be quite wet, quite a little water in it. You can see I'm adding quite a little bit of water because we want that brush to, the end of the brush, to show the tops of the trees that we're going to be putting on there. I think maybe that's good enough to start with. Okay, let's go over to the left side of our painting here and put this on. Remember to leave your brush perpendicular to your panel so that you can put some tops on the trees. See how I do that? Get those tops on there. Now, we'll remember that will dry darker. Okay, I think that's probably all right. Maybe come over here just a little bit farther. You just push in there and push, pull up, and that puts the tops on the trees. Okay, now, before we pull away, or before we go back to painting, let's go down to the panel, or to the palette. Okay, what we're going to do is add some more of the mahogany to our base that we just put on, and this will become about a, if it was a 3 before, or this is going to be about a 2, a value 2. So it is darker. And again, I think we'll just use the fan brush. Pick that up. I don't think we really need to thin this particularly. We'll try it without anyway, so let's try this. All right, I'm going to drop this just a little bit below where the bottom of the trees here. Drop this maybe 1/4 of an inch or so, and we'll just go in and fill this in with paint. Go all the way across there. We'll be using this paint to show the tops of the trees. So that's what we're putting on now, is just extra paint. Now I'll load up and we'll come back, and using the brush in this manner, we're going to put some trees on there like this. I think that's about as much as we will go this time. So you go ahead and put that paint on as I did, putting a lot of paint out here, then using the brush and coming up like this and bringing the tops on the trees. Then we're going to come back and put, this is going to be lake water in this area, so we'll come back and put that on next step. Now we have some of the number 2 value left here, and I'm going to go to about a value 6. So I'm just going to be doing some guessing, and we'll move some warm snow into this so we come up with about a value 6. This is going to be for our water in the lake water, really. Yeah, this ought to be pretty close, so maybe just a little bit more warm snow there. And then I think I'll go with the background brush to do this. Have to thin that a little bit, add a little bit of water. And we're just going to paint in our lake water. And we'll do this with about a value 6 in our value chart here. Okay, let's try that. Let's just put a line right underneath our trees here. Maybe come up far enough that we would. Now those trees are right at the lake's edge, see, and that's what we're putting on there. And come right over to there. Okay, now a little more. We'll come right under here, like so. All right. Now, let's go vertical with this down here, like so. Fill this all the way in to the bottom of the panel. Then we'll come back and put our reflections of our trees. First we'll put in the reflections of the mountain in the water, and then the trees. Then we'll have a little foreground, and that's all we'll need to do on this painting. Okay, I think that's good enough. Take this down a little. Now we will be putting some reflections underneath that, but we'll do that later. Now we're going to put in some reflections of the mountain in the lake water. And those are mountain reflection, or the mountains were about a value 5, so we'll make some value 5 by using some of the mahogany and a little bit of about half and half mahogany and half warm snow. And that should give us our base for our reflection. Then we will put this in, then we will come back and put in some warm snow right over the top of this. And that will be, so this is a kind of a dry brush effect is what we want to do this with. And I'll show you how to do this just by, we use the side of the brush to put this on with. That's this side right here, or this side, or possibly both sides. But we won't be painting with the end, just the side, the flat of the brush. And this will be the mountains, and then we'll come back and put the warm snow on. Okay. Now what we want to do is just estimate, eyeball pretty much this distance here and transfer it right down into the water down here. So you just kind of measure that much and move it down here. And so we will start about right in here to put in the base for the mountains. And I'm going to use the brush like this. See, now that is darker, and when that dries, that will be darker yet. But we need to come back and put the warm snow over the top of that. Okay. Now, let's go back. Right in here, we'll use the warm snow, and we put that on the same way as we did the base for the mountains for our reflections. Now I may have a little bit too much in there. And this is really a light touch now. Now we do this the same way as we did the other. Put this on like this. See, just put some of this on there about like that. Now turn my brush over and give this a pretty good shot right in here. Okay, fan brush, clean it out. And we'll just use the fan brush to put our surface on here like this. Okay, see our reflections there, and that's about all we want to do is show that, and that's probably enough. So you go ahead and put that in. Then we'll come back and put the reflection of this in here and this also, and then we'll just put a little something in our foreground here. Okay, now we need to put in some more reflections. And we need to come up with about a value 3, which is quite dark. It'd be like the tree row that we put in. And all I'm doing is adding some mahogany to the base that we had left here. And I think that's probably just a little bit light yet, and then you go a little darker. Yeah, we're getting there now. I think we can probably live with that. And let's try it, and we'll use the fan brush. And we won't have this quite as thin as we had and when we put the tree row on there. This will be a little heavier. All right, we have this tree row right here, and so we want to go just the opposite for the reflection in the water. So let's try this now. Come down here. See that this distance will come down here, that distance, and about right in here. And this is all vertical strokes with the fan brush. And of course, as this comes down, we go with up here, like so. A little more. Okay. There we go. Okay, now there's the reflections of, straighten that up a little bit there. Reflections of the trees there. Now, let's come back down and we can add some more of the mahogany, because we were looking for about a number 2. In fact, I think I'll just add a little bit more of this out of the old jar here, because this has to be kind of dark. And this is for the tree row on the right. We're going to be doing the same thing. Okay, now. Try that. That looks about right. And we'll go up and we'll do just the opposite over here of this row. So we need to go about right in there somewhere. So let's try this, and we'll just guess this. Reflections, 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 reflections. Okay, now I'm going to clean out my brush and we'll put a little more, put a little this right along here like this. And the same way over here. Reflections. Okay, I think that's about what we need to do. You go ahead and put that in like that, then we're going to come back and put a little something right in this area, and then we'll be finished. Okay, we're going to be painting a little bit with just plain paper towel. So I just kind of got this into mussed it up is really what it did. Then we kind of gather it up about like this and go in, and I'll just be using mahogany without anything in it other than the paper towel. Now what I'm doing, so you can see I have quite a little bit on there, but I'll go over here and touch this to get the excess so you don't have too much on there. Then we're going to go up. Now right in here, we're going to just fill this in. This will be something that's in the very foreground. Some foliage, shrubbery of some sort. See, that's what we need to do. Come over here a little ways, about like that. Okay, now I think because of the background on that, I think I'll just go ahead and work on this same thing a little bit more. I was going to lighten up part of that, but I think it wouldn't show too good against the backdrop that's on there or the water. So let's go up here just a little ways. Take this over here, about like that. Now one thing we can do, and it'll be kind of up to you if you want to, we could put a tree or something in here, or you could leave it like this, whatever you'd like. And we can also use something to put in some branches. We can go just like this with the end of the other end of a paintbrush. That's kind of neat. See how fast you can do that. It looks kind of neat, I think. Okay. Yes, let's leave that about like that. So that's, you go ahead and put that on, and then you come back, and I'm going to put an old tree in here. But if you don't want to, well, you won't have to do that. But it give you the option of the tying this in with this. There, we have a place to start right up there. So you go ahead and put this on, and then we'll see how much time we have. Okay, now for those of you who want to put on a tree, here we are. I'm just going to use the knife and some mahogany, and I'm going to use pure mahogany for the right side of the trunk of the tree. And on the left side, we'll lighten it up a little bit to probably about a value 7 or something like that. But we're going to go with but not a value 7, value 3. And we're going to go with a value 1 right now. Okay, now we already have a little mark up here. We'll just kind of go with that. Using the edge of the knife, we'll just bring this down, and this will establish the tree coming right down here like that. Okay, now we'll maybe do that a little bit more. And you can see as we come down the tree, I turned the knife so that you can use the flat of the knife to do that. Now, we are going to put some branches and foliage on this, but I'm just going to use the paint that's on there. Well, I was going to put some of the other, I want to pick up this value here, and on this side of the tree, especially down in this area, we'll warm that up just a little bit. There. Okay, I think it's going to be pretty good. And again, we'll just put some branches coming out here. And as we get down, they can become a little larger. Okay, now we use a fan brush and pick up just the value 1 paint, and we'll put our branches on here, or our boughs. And at the top, this will be kind of scattered, so. Okay. Now let's put some right here. And I think that's probably about as much as we need to come down on that. So let's maybe a little bit right here, but we don't want to get down into here and take away from that now. So let's leave that about like that, and that's just kind of an old scrub tree there, and maybe a little bit more right up here. Yeah, it's about like that. Let's leave that like that. You put your little tree in like that if you want to. Now that's about really all we need to do with that whole painting. And when you be sure, and when you put in the reflections up here, leave a little area in here. Or if you don't want to do that, you can use the end of the brush and kind of mark a little place right along there while it's still wet. It's pretty dry to try to change now, but we could a little bit if we have to. Okay, I think that's about it. So that's you finish that up, and then we can go home.